Hi guys, Aviation JFK here, back at you with another video. Today we are going to be doing the third video in the model comparison series. Today it's going to be the two Airbus A380s in my collection. The one on the right being the Singapore Airlines A380 by Phoenix, and the one on the left being the Lufthansa Airbus A380 by Geminijets. Now, as usual, if you're new to the series, I'm going to just be going through each and every section of the aircraft, to give you a good look to see what it looks like, so you can kind of make your mind up on which one you want to buy, and just to give you my opinion, to show you which elements of the aircraft I think is better. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get straight into this video. So here we are. The first section of the aircraft is going to be the nose. In my opinion, hands down, the Phoenix one is way better than the Geminijets one, just because of the shape. Now, as you can see, the shape of the Geminijets one just looks too pointy, and it looks like it's too rounded on the bottom side here. On the Phoenix one, it's just way more rounded. It's not as pointy as on the Geminijets one, and it just looks true to scale. Now, I do have to give the wheels themselves on the nose gear to the Geminijets one, as in real life they're not actually chrome like on the Phoenix one. But that's, if I'm really nitpicking, that's something I just thought I'd say. Overall, the general detail is that most of the aircraft both have roughly the same amount of detail. The only thing that the Lufthansa one lacks is this little dome on the top here. On the Geminijets one, it is just a little circle or a little oval. But yeah, they both carry the exact same details on the front side of the aircraft. Now, moving on to the fuselage detail, both aircraft really excel in this area and both have substantial amounts of detail. One thing I will say is that both aircraft have good antennas and good domes. These are all separate pieces, as I'll show you on the Phoenix one as well. It all looks very nice. Now also, I think that the general door detail and cargo door detail is really good on both models. As I said, both aircraft have really good fuselage detail, so there's not really much to talk about there. Now, in my opinion, the real turning point comes when looking at the engines and wings of these two models. Something that I do not like about the Geminijets model is that the wings look like as if they are in flight. I'll illustrate this by giving you another angle towards later on in the video. I just think that these wings are way too bent up, and they don't really illustrate the weight of an Airbus A380's wing. And in real life, if you didn't know, it is really arced over just because of the overall weight of the wing. Now, moving on to the engine. Engines of the models. There's only one real area that I disagree with on the Geminijets one. Now, moving on to the engines of the two models, the only thing I really do not like about the Geminijets one is that the exhaust cone, or whatever this part is called, is way too short and stubby. It doesn't really look like it's been scaled down properly, so I just don't think this looks very realistic. Also, I'll illustrate this in a second by holding the camera up, but there's these little fins on the inside of the engines. They are really tall on this model, and they look really disproportionate compared to the rest of the engine. They're also really thick, which suggests that they've been covered in paint quite heavily. Second, this here is much more arced down, suggesting that the wing is a really heavy structure, and it really does have gravity's effect playing on it. Now, one thing I do think the Geminijets does take over the Phoenix one is that the engine cowling and engine blades are really nicely detailed. There's also, even if you can pick it up, a really small swirl on the cone of the engine, which is something that is not present on the Phoenix A380. And as I mentioned, here you can see these little sharklet fin things on the engines. They're really thick and really tall, which in my opinion, think is very disproportionate to the real thing. So here we are with the front view of the Phoenix A380. You can see that starting off, the sharklets on the engines are really thin and really short. That is really proportionate to the real thing, in my opinion. Now also you can see that the wings here are way more arced, and they really do illustrate as if the aircraft is on the ground, for example at a gate or taxiing towards the runway. Now as I mentioned, I think the Geminijets has a better overall engine blade mold, as the ones on the Phoenix one are very spaced apart, and they don't really look realistic. So now on the basic opinion, or my overall opinion on the models, in my opinion the Phoenix model A380 is much better than the Geminijets one, purely because of the shape of the nose and the shape of the wings. The shape of the nose on the Geminijets one just doesn't look realistic whatsoever. You really need to have the model in person for it to be illustrated, but I've also heard of many other people complaining about this model. Now on the detail side of things, both models have a sufficient amount of detail. Some areas the Phoenix shines and some areas the Geminijets shines. And for example on the engines, the Geminijets A380 has a little swirl on the engine cone, which I think is a really nice touch, and is something you really do not see on the modern day 1:400 scale models at the moment. Now also, I really do think it comes down to preference, and also Phoenix makes A380s that Geminijets doesn't make, and Geminijets makes A380s that Phoenix doesn't make. So it's really not a bad option for either of them. Another thing that take into consideration is that the Phoenix model A380 is so much lighter than the Geminijets one. I was actually scared that when the model turned up there wasn't actually a model inside the box. But when I opened it up, I was really surprised to find out that the model is a really light composite metal. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think it might be some sort of aluminium, but the Geminijets one is way heavier. But yeah, I hope you guys found this video somewhat helpful. I thought I'd give you a little bit of a closer look at the model, because I really feel like the A380 is a really preference-based aircraft. Both manufacturers shine in areas that the other manufacturer doesn't, as I mentioned before. But if I had to pick one personally, I would definitely go with the Phoenix one, just because of the nose shape. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed or found this helpful. Also, I'm really glad to say that we actually hit 500 subscribers quite recently. I've been really happy with the overall support on the channel. I never thought I'd get this far in 9 months. But yeah, I'm going to be having a Q&A video coming out next Monday. So drop some questions down in the comments below. I'll also be putting up an Instagram question box. So ask me as many questions as you can, just so that I can actually make a video about it. But yeah, it's been Aviation JFK, signing off.